Hello, leaders. Hey, this is Paul Grau, and welcome to Run to Your Leadership Challenges, the daily show that helps you leverage conflict to master your leadership and communication skills to live your best life. Hey, hope you're doing well today. Now, I don't want to kill any good moods today, but I do want you to think about a time when you have just about blown your gasket, or lost your temper, or just reacted to something by yelling or getting very upset at somebody else. In the conflict world, these times are referred to as conflict triggers. And they aren't always easy to identify because what may be a conflict trigger to me may not even come close to being a trigger to you. Because let's face it, we're all wired differently. We all process things differently. And we all have different conflict triggers. In simplest terms, a conflict trigger could be anything that causes a disagreement between two people or a group of people. Today, I want to talk about conflict triggers and how you can learn to control them so that you don't have a negative reaction to them or blow up at anybody. Naturally, there are all kinds of conflict triggers, from misunderstandings to poor communication, from lack of team unity and inadequate team members to lack of training for your specific job. There is frustration, burnout, stress, and differing goals and visions and dreams that may be conflict triggers. Another hot potato conflict trigger is varying differences in values and ethics. For some people, it may be as simple as avoiding eye contact with them, or personality clashes with coworkers, or simply having a differing perspective on various things. Change is another big one, whether it's personal or organizational change. Change can really trigger some people, and any form of instability for that matter. Differing opinions is yet another common conflict trigger. So if all these things are conflict triggers, and by the way, you can add whatever else that I didn't mention that you can think of that causes disagreement between you and somebody else. If all of these are conflict triggers, why can't we just avoid them and get on with our lives in a peaceful manner? Well, you all know that would be nice, but it's more of a fairy tale than it is reality. In reality, people just get upset. It's a fact of life that just happens, and we can't really do anything about their behavior. However, what we can control is our reaction to the conflict trigger and our reaction if somebody else gets nasty or upset at us. Even though we can't control them, we can control us. One of my mentors, John C. Maxwell, defines a fact of life as something we can't control or fix, but something that does not control us. With that in mind, I believe a conflict trigger would fit into the category of a fact of life because they are something that we can't control or fix, but it does not have to control us. Here's an example. If I'm aware that people driving recklessly and cutting in front of people and driving under the speed limit in the passing lane is a conflict trigger for me, well, that's just a fact of life. I cannot control their driving or fix every person that does those things. However, I can acknowledge that doesn't have to control me or my reactions and behaviors. And I can take control of how I respond. Does that make sense? So to take control of your conflict triggers, first of all, you need to begin to identify what personal conflict triggers you have and write them down so that you can remember them. Next, determine if your conflict triggers are just a fact of life or something that you may be able to fix or at least minimize. Then start going through all the things that are just facts of life and start reprogramming your mind to be able to identify them as such and to train yourself to refuse to let those things control you. Now, this isn't going to be an easy challenge or one that you can complete in a matter of an hour or two. This challenge is going to take time because it's basically reprogramming your mindset to identify facts of life that may really trigger you to get angry and accept that fact that you cannot fix it. Identifying your own conflict triggers and reprogramming your mind is the first step. Another step is to share this idea with your team, your family, your friends, so that everyone can not only identify their conflict triggers, but can also let others around them know what they are. The more people that know your conflict triggers, the better chance that you have of minimizing them in the workplace. This also serves as an accountability tool for your family, team, and friends. Hey, I hope you enjoyed this show. Please discuss this topic with your team, your family, your friends over the next week or two, and share each other's conflict triggers. Have a great rest of your day, and I hope you'll join us again tomorrow. Until then, run to your challenges.